My name is Calvin. I am going to give you guys a quick little tutorial on downward facing dog. Patty will be our model here. So she's going to start with her hands facing you guys. We're going to show you a couple different angles of the pose. Every pose starts from the bottom up. If you don't get what's on the floor right, then the rest of the pose does not really stand much of a chance in most cases. So we're going to start with the hands. She's got her fingers spread wide. She's pressing her entire hand down into the mat. If any part of the hand were a little heavier, I would say have the inner knuckles a little bit heavier if you need, because they are the biggest, strongest knuckles on the hand. Now, there's a big misconception that the arms are externally rotated in this pose. The hands are pressing down through the whole hand. The forearms are neutral. So you want to feel as though the thumbs are almost pulling towards each other and these forearms stay neutral. The rotation that most people refer to is in the upper arms. So these forearms stay neutral, and then right where the tricep gets up towards the shoulder, the upper outer arm wraps. So this outer tricep wraps towards the outside of the knee, and what that does, because her arms are overhead, is allows her upper back to broaden and the base of her neck to get a little bit wider to provide more of a release in the neck and the cervical spine. Now, Patty's pretty bendy, so one thing that tends to happen here is the forearms tend to collapse. So we're going to switch the camera angle, and she's going to turn sideways for down dog. And then, so she's got a bendier body, so it's easy for her to just kind of sit her chest down, and that really collapses into the forearm. And we're looking for length from the hips through the wrists. So when she kind of collapses the chest down and turns this into a back bend, we don't find that same length and stability we want. So what she's going to do, she's going to engage the abdominals a little bit, soften the front ribs in, and you'll notice that takes a little bit of that back bend out of the lower back. Then with her fingertips, she's actually going to reach them forward a little bit and allow for the forearms to rebound away from the mat. And then we can find that nice straight line from the wrist through the hips. Now, as the forearms rebound away, for most of you with bendier bodies that need to work that action, there becomes a little crease in the skin between the trapezius and the shoulder. So again, keep the forearm lifting, press down through the inner hand if you're taking this modification, and then wrap the outer arm down to open at the base of the neck. Now, she's got the upper body great. She's long from the wrist through the hips. And she's going to start to work the legs. So that's just one half of the pose starting from the bottom up. The heels are nice and heavy. Now there's a big tendency as you work the heels down towards the mat to let them turn in towards each other. And what that does is that creates a little bit of an external rotation, which compresses into the lower back. So what we want to do is have the heels turn away from each other a little bit, and that releases the inner thighs back and creates space between the sit bones here. The thigh bones press back into the hamstring or towards the hamstring. And then we lengthen from this mid-calf down through the center of the heel. So when you're standing up in Tadasana, your toes should hold more or less no weight. They're more there for balance. Look how big the foot is compared to the toe, or the toes. It's a lot stronger. It's a lot more stable. You want to think about this part of the foot, mainly the back of the foot, holding the weight that's coming down through the legs instead of having to grip the toes. So, heels work down. Doesn't matter whether or not they touch the mat. Toes are light. She could lift her toes off the mat. It wouldn't affect the pose. That's what we're looking for. She's nice and long. From the wrists through the hips, the upper outer arm firms in. So this upper tricep hugs into the arm bone, the humerus. The upper back is nice and wide, and then there's length in the side ribs. Thigh bones press back, and in turn, we have a very nice, beautiful downward facing dog. So thank you guys for tuning in today. Hopefully that helps with some modifications for you.